Hello everyone. Hello Damon. My name is Pri Bertucci. I am the CEO of Diversity BBox Consulting. I identify as transgender non-binary person, also as a person of color. I'm Brazilian, and Diversity BBox is focused in bringing knowledge to organizations that are committed to transforming society. We have worked over the past 10 years with a lot of different organizations and corporations. And one of the things that we notice is how a lot of these organizations want to do something pro diversity, inclusion, and equality. The problem is some companies are not really committed to change, to social change, and we have seen a lot of diversity washing and rainbow washing from a lot of organizations that sometimes are not really committed to social change. It's more because it's the trend thing to do. What do you have to say for those organizations who are still resisting the change that's inevitable to come?
It's a fantastic question, and thank you for taking the time to send that video. I, um, I think that this question resonates with a lot of people because it's applicable to so many different topics. It's also true with the sort of fad around greening and showing, environmental support, which was often viewed as either insincere or not really taking hold in the organization the way it should. Um, and one of the key lessons here, I describe in the book this stories of organizational change and how it spreads. And one of the key factors is that within any sector, what you'll see is there's these networks that are largely invisible to most of us, but it's essentially networks among the boards of directors. There are these ties between each of these boards of directors, and the decision making that sort of influences the direction of these organizations is highly determined by social influences flowing through this kind of overlapping network. And one of the real powerful stories I tell is about organizational change in the 1980s around corporate governance policies. And organizations were resisting this change for years. And then all of a sudden, a couple of peer institutions within a sector started to adopt it. And it formed that kind of critical mass within the network. And what's striking is you see this sort of explosion of change among peer institutions. And so this is the key thing to think about with institutional change within any industry or sector where people who are at the sort of the C level, the CEO level, are making decisions by looking at the other organizations who they think are as relevant to them as the peers whose opinion of them matters and against whom they're evaluating their own reputation. And that network actually winds up being the key explanatory factor for understanding how, high level organizational change spreads across an entire industry. And so what I would suggest is that thinking very much about the organizations that are on board now and trying to sort of piece together what the network is that connects those organizations to other organizations you want to reach, and to focus on amplifying the wide bridges, the connections, the social communication between those different organizations so that you get reinforcing peer pressure and support. And this has happened at least 3 or 4 times that are very well studied, that you see these kinds of cascades, these sort of social change processes spread through an entire industry as a result of kind of a growing critical mass among a couple of firms, and all of their peers feel the obligation to then come along. Because what you're doing really is you're changing the social norms and expectations that people have of themselves by virtue of realizing that other firms have that expectation of them. And that's a very powerful peer effect within organizational networks.